This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Thursday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Here's what's making headlines on this February the 27th. An Indiana grandfather charged in the death of his granddaughter on a cruise ship is speaking out why he says he decided to take a plea deal.
Homes along the White River could be saved as a new bill moves forward in the State House. The change that homeowners say is now giving them hope.
And February is American Heart Month, how one woman survived a major health scare and the symptoms that you need to look out for. But first, we're looking out for you weather-wise. We need to get a check of our Storm Team 6 forecast.
That's right. Todd Clausen is standing by with what we can expect as we head out the door this Thursday. Todd, we have more than 50 school delays. Those are mostly in areas to the north, though, this morning.
Yeah, and that's where the areas that saw more in the way of accumulating snow yesterday. 3 inches to 4 inches of snow from Lafayette to Kokomo and points to the north. Here in the metro area, we didn't see as much in the way of snow. You're in that 1 to 3 inch range that we forecasted for you. And as you take a live look this morning from IMS looking back towards the city, you can easily see the city. The snow showers that we still have out there were intense enough you wouldn't be able to see the city as visibilities would be reduced. So that's a good indication that you shouldn't have too many issues with anything falling from the sky this morning for your commute. What's on the ground, though, could be an issue. The roads were untreated. 23 in Kokomo, 25 in Martinsville right now. It's 27 in Bloomington. When you look at radar, you see a lot of white, and you would think this is accumulating snow. This is just a few flurries here and there across the area. They'll continue to diminish. Clearing line off to our west, and I'm hopeful for some sunshine here as we go throughout the day. Unfortunately, today remains pretty breezy with wind gusts that will be up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So that's going to make these temperatures that will barely get above freezing feel more like the 20s throughout the day. So you definitely have to bundle up, but you do not have to worry about any accumulating snow. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on your roads this morning. Here is a look at our drive times coming in from the east side. Westbound I-70, no delays from Post Road to I-65, the north split. That'll take you 10 minutes. Let's head over to the west side of town, I-465 near Sam Jones Expressway. Lots of headlights out that way. Traffic's picking up northbound and southbound on the interstate. No delays to slow you down. Of course, we'll keep you updated.
An Indiana grandfather charged in the death of his 18-month-old granddaughter is speaking out after agreeing to a plea deal. Salvatore Anello released a statement saying he wants to, quote, help end part of this nightmare. Anello was charged with negligent homicide and filed documents to change his plea to guilty. He was allegedly leaning out of an 11th floor window when he picked up Chloe Wiegand, who slipped from his grip. In his statement released Wednesday, he talked about how the moment in July still haunts him, saying, quote, I was placed in charge of keeping my beautiful granddaughter safe, and I failed. It will always be a constant nightmare every day and every night for the rest of my life. With the plea deal, the family's lawyer says he will not spend time behind bars. He would instead serve probation time in Indiana. The deal still has to be approved. A hearing date has not been set.
Greenfield police are investigating a crash that left a nail salon badly damaged. It happened at VIP Nail on East New Road around noon yesterday. Greenfield police posted this photo of the crash. You can see the vehicle broke most of the glass in the entryway, and it came to a stop inside the store. One minor injury was reported. No other details have been released at this time.
Purdue University says it's suspending university-sponsored trips to more countries due to the coronavirus. Travel to South Korea, Iran, Italy, and Japan have been put on hold after the countries were listed as level 2 or 3 risks by the CDC. Earlier this month, Purdue suspended travel to China due to the virus. Butler, IU, and Ball State did as well. Right now, there are no reported cases of coronavirus in Indiana. The State Department of Health is scheduled to give an update on its preparations for an outbreak later today.
It is 5:04. A bill that could save homes along the White River is making progress in the State House. We first told you about this situation earlier this week after homeowners reached out to RTV6 for help. The Department of Natural Resources has determined some homes must be torn down because they're in a floodway. Wednesday, lawmakers heard changes to Senate Bill 433. It would save the homes, but homeowners would have to raise their cabins. Lyra Bates shared her story with RTV6 on Monday. She's fighting to save her mother's cabin in Martin County and attended the State House hearing on this issue.
I really hope that we are able to save her home and the other homeowners that are here with us today. And I think everyone is encouraged and hopeful.
Well, the bill now heads to the House for a vote. That could happen as soon as today. We'll keep you updated.
There is a new effort to reduce teen dating violence in Indianapolis. The Domestic Violence Network is teaming up with Indianapolis Public Schools for a program called the Change Project. A group of 8th graders at IPS's Center for Inquiry School 2 is the latest to participate. Leaders with the Domestic Violence Network host the sessions to teach them about consent, healthy relationships, and the warning signs of abuse. Students say the open discussions are beneficial as they prepare to go to high school.
I think at some point in our lives, every single person that's taking this class is going to come across some kind of circumstance where they're going to use this information. And I think that's why it's really important.
Indiana ranks 3rd highest in the nation for the percentage of high school students reporting sexual dating violence. Principals can reach out and request the Change Project to come to their school as needed.
All month long, we've been sharing stories of survival as part of the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women campaign. Heart disease is the leading cause of death among women here in the United States. And so this morning, our Alyssa Donovan has a story from one woman who advocated for herself when she knew that something wasn't right. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. So for a woman between the ages of 35 and 45, the average resting heart rate is about 60 to 100 beats per minute. That's why when Jennifer Pace's husband brought her to the ER and the monitor read 210, she knew this was something serious. But it wasn't the first time that Pace experienced these symptoms. She had been having these, what she describes as flutters in her chest for all her life. And this was just the most intense episode. And now, as a mother and wife, she wanted to make sure she would be there for her family in the future. Since she was little, Jennifer Pace experienced these symptoms, and for years she was told it was nothing. As she got older, the episodes lasted longer, sometimes hours, causing her extreme exhaustion. After multiple trips to the emergency room, trying several medications, and firing a couple cardiologists, she found one that gave her a diagnosis. Pace had atrial fibrillation, or AFib, an irregular heartbeat condition that can lead to blood clots, stroke, and heart failure.
What was happening was the top part of my heart was beating so fast that the bottom part would just quiver. There was no blood going around in my system. My lungs would fill up with blood, so basically I was drowning in my own blood when these episodes would happen.
Her doctor performed an AFib ablation, a procedure used to slow down the symptoms of the condition. Now at 44 years old, Pace has finally received some relief from the symptoms she's had most of her life, with maybe a 30-second heart flutter every few months. So her symptoms have definitely improved. This is one of those conditions that don't really have a cure. It's something that's managed. Now, AFib is also hereditary, and Pace tells me that they've started seeing some of these symptoms in her youngest daughter. So they are keeping an eye on her, taking her to doctors regularly, and the entire family has taken on a more heart-healthy diet. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. The Indiana Department of Transportation is hiring Hoosiers to work the night shift. This morning, you can learn more about available positions at a hiring fair. It goes from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the INDOT location on South Brookville Road. Last year, the state passed a budget increase for the department, paving the way for a second shift of employees.
After bench presses yesterday, players are ready to begin their position drills today for the NFL Combine that's being held right here in Indianapolis. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends will try to impress scouts on the field from 4 to 11 tonight. Running backs, offensive linemen, and special teams go tomorrow, followed by defensive players on Saturday. Time right now is 5:09. Let's check in with Todd and our chilly forecast this morning, Todd.
Yeah, definitely need to bundle up. Temperatures are in the 20s, wind chills in the teens this morning, and unfortunately, there's not going to be a whole lot in the way of a warm-up heading our way throughout the day today. So there's a few flurries out there this morning. You'll see them through about 6, 7 o'clock, and then they'll start to diminish across the area. And even if you see a flurry or two, it's not going to cause any issues on the roads. But obviously, with the snow yesterday and the below freezing temperatures, there could be some icy spots. Should be right around 24 degrees at 8 a.m. So when you look at radar, you see quite a bit of white, which would be snow. It looks worse on radar than it actually is. These are just a few flurries making their way through the area. You'll see them in and around the metro area, off to the west, to the east as well. But the overall trend throughout the day today will be to thin the clouds out gradually as we work our way way into the afternoon hours. I think there's probably more clouds than sun today, but the skies, they should brighten just a little bit. Unfortunately, temperatures don't warm a whole lot. 31 today up in the Kokomo area, 35 in Greenwood, closer to 40 in southern locations, but with the breeze, you could probably cut about 5 to 10 degrees off these temperatures, and that's what it's really going to feel like. But we do have a warm up heading our way just in time for the weekend. More on that for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. 5 people were killed after a gunman opened fire inside of a historic Milwaukee Molson Coors plant. Coming up, the latest on the police investigation.
And popular coffee company Nespresso is under investigation. Still ahead, why a documentary is claiming it uses child labor. We'll be right back.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
Welcome back. It is 5:13 on your Thursday. Here's a live look at traffic over on the east side, I-70 at Sherman Drive. You can see traffic's moving along just fine eastbound and westbound. No crashes to report around the Indy metro area.
This morning, we're learning new details after a gunman opened fire at the Molson Coors Beer Company in Milwaukee. 5 workers were killed, and officials are calling it the saddest day in the company's 165 years in that city. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the latest.
This morning, tragedy at a Milwaukee landmark.
Never seen anything like this.
Police say an employee opened fire at the old Miller Brewing headquarters, now the Molson Coors Company, killing 5 co-workers before turning the gun on himself.
This Miller Brewing site has been part of the Miller family and part of the city of Milwaukee for 165 years. And this is the saddest day that we have had.
More than 1,000 people were working at the sprawling beer plant Wednesday afternoon when the gunman started shooting. Employees were evacuated along with neighboring schools as police searched more than 20 buildings on the company's campus.
I was afraid for my dear life with my baby.
Came over here as quick as I could, seeing if I can get him out of here.
This worker says he walked away from the gunman to talk to someone else just seconds before the shooter pulled out the gun.
If I wouldn't have gone to talk to this guy who was relieving me, I'd be one of them guys. Yeah, I know that for a fact, because I would have walked right into what was going on.
The state's lieutenant governor says this is the 11th mass shooting in Wisconsin since 2004.
We shouldn't accept this. This is not the way that things should be. And we should never grow comfortable in the face of these repeated tragedies all across America, and especially right here at home.
There were 5 individuals who went to work today, and they thought they were going to go to work, finish their day, and return to their families. They didn't, and tragically, they never will.
Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
It is 5:15. Coffee company Nespresso is now being investigated after claims of child labor at 6 of its suppliers in Guatemala. In an upcoming episode of a UK documentary called Dispatchers, footage shows children working up to 6 days a week, many of them picking beans on plantations and moving heavy loads. Nespresso said it is investigating and has stopped all purchases of coffee from farms in the region until they're able to guarantee child labor is not being used. Oscar-winning actor George Clooney serves as a brand ambassador. He's also reacting, saying, quote, he is surprised and saddened by the report.
Representatives for former President Barack Obama are demanding a Republican Public Action Committee to stop airing an ad that quotes him. They claim the commercial uses Obama's words to imply former Vice President Joe Biden supports plantation politics. Obama's lawyers say that the quote comes from his audiobook and that the statement was made by a barber in different context decades ago. A cease and desist letter was sent to the group called the Committee to Defend the President, demanding they stop airing the ad. All right, Todd, and I'm going to demand from you that you give us a warm-up soon.
You're going to send me cease and desist on winter here?
Yes, I am.
All right, well, I don't know if I can sign off on that or whatever you have to do for a cease and desist. I've never gotten one in my life. But anyway, let's move on. As you walk out the door here this morning, your weather headlines this morning, it's just a few flurries that will be out there throughout the day today. So we still have this winter-like feel. There are some warmer temperatures heading our way. I'll show you those in the 7-day planning forecast in just a few minutes. Today's a cold day with some gusty winds. These winds will be a bit of an issue throughout the day, and then just watch out for some icy spots left over from yesterday. No additional snow will cause any issues throughout the day today. It's what's on the ground already that will be the issue for you, especially on untreated roadways, sidewalks, driveways, and just use some common sense as you get out there on the roads this morning. So here's what Storm Team 6 radar looks like with the clouds on as well. And we all have have the clouds. Some of you seeing some flurries move through. This looks worse on radar than it actually is. Just some flurries up here to the north, back over towards Frankfurt, down towards Lebanon as well. A few flurries in Shelbyville, in and around the metro area. Again, you'll see them on the roads as you start your commute, but they're not going to cause any accumulation. What we're hopeful for today is this clearing line off to our west for that to come through. And I think we will see some sunshine at times throughout the day today. It's just not going to be one of those days where we completely clear the clouds out. They'll still be present throughout a good chunk of the day, even though TrueCast is thinning the clouds out a little more than what the satellite picture is showing currently. So it's not another question. Some of you could get into several hours of sunshine today, and then there's just a chance of a few flurries later on this afternoon, and nothing of consequence. The visibility not bad this morning. Beautiful shot of our city coming from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 25 degrees. That's the current temperature. The winds out of the west at 8. So those winds have calmed down from where they were yesterday evening. But as we go throughout the day, they'll kind of pick back up. 27 in Bloomington. 23 is the current temperature in Tipton. And throughout the day today, we will see temperatures warm back up into the low 30s for us across the area, with skies that again toggle between partly and mostly cloudy this evening. It's cold. It's breezy. Temperatures will be in the 30s with a mostly cloudy sky, and then going forward into the overnight hours with more in the way of a snowpack on the ground to the north. Tomorrow morning, 16 in Lafayette, 13 in Peru, about 20 in Indianapolis, and then throughout the day tomorrow, temperatures get back up into the mid-30s. Tomorrow, a little better chance, I think, of some snow showers coming through, and some of them could be pretty vigorous. And what I mean by that is as they come through, I'm not so much worried about any potential accumulation. Could be a quick coating, but it'd be more of an issue with visibility getting reduced on the highway. And then Meredith wants winter to be gone. Well, it's going to be more spring-like Sunday into next week as temperatures get back into the upper 50s. With the warmth, though, come rain showers Monday and Tuesday. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here's a live look right now at your drive on the northwest side. This is I-65, a little north of 38th Street. You can see traffic here is moving along up to speed, and the snow is off in the grass, not on the roads. That is great news as you're heading out there. It doesn't look like it's too slick. Folks there are traveling still up to speed. So let's take a look right now at traffic on southbound I-69. Drivers in Hamilton County, it's a 5-minute commute from State Road 37 to the I-465 ramps. And a look here on the north side at your commute on 465. This is over the White River near the Keystone Avenue area. You can see traffic's moving along just fine. Of course, we'll keep you updated if you need to reroute.
Tennis star Maria Sharapova says she is ready to put down her racket. The 5-time Grand Slam winner has announced her retirement. She broke into tennis in 2004 when she beat Serena Williams at Wimbledon at 17 years old. In 2016, she tested positive for a banned substance and was suspended. Now, after a short return, the 32-year-old Russian told Vogue that she is saying goodbye to the sport. Outside of tennis, she has started her own candy brand called Sugarpova. She is also now a guest host on the show Shark Tank.
You no longer have to travel to D.C. to see the exhibits of the Smithsonian Institute. You can now learn it all from your home. The Institute has uploaded millions of pieces of art and artifacts for you to view online. The Smithsonian just launched the program called Open Access. There you can find out about these 3 million 2D and 3D images to download and share for free. The pieces come from all 19 Smithsonian museums, research centers, and even the National Zoo. The Institute says more pieces will be added to the collection periodically.
All right, Todd Clausen, this one is just for you. Walmart has created the ultimate Oreo deal. The company is now selling Oreo variety packs with 5 types of the classic cookies. They range in cream size from thin to double stuffed to most stuff. The pack also includes an exclusive t-shirt. Walmart is selling the 4-pound pack online for $24.99. At last check, it is sold out, but you can get on the company's list for a restock notification. And you can wash those Oreos down with this. A pub in Jerusalem making a beer with 5,000-year-old yeast. After the break, how you can taste the ancient brew for yourself. We'll be right back.
The 2020 Altima.
Some beer lovers in Jerusalem are giving a whole new meaning to aging a brew. One pub is serving a beer that is made with yeast that's 5,000 years old. It was discovered by 2 men in old clay pots. They were able to reactivate the yeast in a lab and made their first batch of beer with it last spring. Some people say it tastes like nuts or bananas and goes down smoothly. Others say it tastes like burnt bread. It still doesn't have a name, but the pub says they are making plans to sell the ancient beer worldwide.
It's pretty crazy. Well, if you prefer coffee, Panera is offering a major deal. The company is starting a new subscription where you can get bottomless hot or iced coffee any size and any day to any time of the day. That is, the cost is $8.99 a month. Panera's CEO says the goal is to change the face of the industry. Registration for the subscription is now open nationwide on the Panera app and website.
I don't think many people will be opting for iced coffee on a day like today. Today is definitely a hot coffee kind of morning.
Yeah, you know, but before you know it, people will be getting iced coffee.
Yes.
We'll be turning the page here pretty quickly as we make our way into March here as we get into the weekend. 32 degrees though today, definitely a winter-like feel. Look for icy spots on the roadways left over from last night, and then the refreeze as temperatures are down in the 20s this morning. Just a few flurries. You'll see a couple out there on your commute this morning and throughout the day, but no accumulations expected. That 32 though, when you factor in the wind that'll be with us throughout the day today, is going to feel more like it's in the mid-20s.
So what happens when an apartment is not safe and taxpayers are paying for it? That story at 6 a.m. when I join Meredith and Lauren on Good Morning Indiana.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
President Trump has tapped Vice President Mike Pence to lead the country's fight against a possible outbreak of the coronavirus.
What that means and why the president's decision is facing some criticism. Plus, our Go Red for Women coverage comes to a conclusion this morning.
Our Alyssa Donovan has the story of how one woman's persistence after a health scare led her to live a happier and healthier life, and the message she has for other women. But first, we need to check in on our Storm Team 6 forecast.
That's right. Todd Clausen is standing by, and the good news, as you can see here from our camera, the skies are clear. We had all that precipitation this time yesterday, Todd. So any school delays are from what happened yesterday, right?
Yeah, there's no additional issues with stuff falling from the sky. You'll see a few flurries, but that's not going to put down any accumulating snow, and temperatures are very cold. And so it was ever on the ground. It froze last night, and we told you that was going to happen. So you just got to use caution this morning, especially watch out those first couple steps out your door, especially if your driveway or your sidewalk isn't salted, and obviously the same for the roadways as you start your commute. So what do you need to grab before you go this morning? The hat, the gloves, the heavy jacket will be needed. I didn't check sunglasses off. You may see some sunshine at times throughout the day today, but we're not looking at a whole lot heading our way. 27 in Bloomington right now, 23 in Peru at 23. It's a pretty common number. Logansport, Kokomo, a degree colder over in Marion, sitting at 22 degrees this morning. And here are those flurries that are coming through, and honestly, it looks worse on radar than it actually is, and that's not going to cause any issues. Any accumulating snow is now well off to our east, and we're watching the clearing line off to our west. That'll get in here later on this afternoon. So roads will be slick in spots to the south. You didn't see much in the way of snow, but you too will have some slick conditions with the rain that you saw now turning to ice on the roadways. 32 degrees later on this afternoon. That's all we can do for our high temperature, but we do have warmer days ahead. More on that coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren.
Todd, thanks. Let's take a look right now at traffic. This is our NDOT traffic camera at I-465, the East Street exit down there on the south side. You can see traffic still pretty quiet there. No delays to slow you down. So take a look at our traffic now map, planning out your commute. Heading southbound on Interstate 65, starting up here in Boone County at State Road 267, going to I-70 at the North Split downtown. No delays. So let's take one more live look. This is in the area on the northwest side, I-65, a view a little north of 38th Street. Traffic's moving along up to speed, both northbound and southbound. Here at 5:32, we do begin our coverage this morning with continuing coverage of the coronavirus outbreak. There are now at least 60 confirmed cases of COVID-19 here in the United States.
And health officials expect that number to rise both here in the U.S. and around the world. Last night, President Trump addressed the growing concerns, pushing back on skepticism about his administration's ability to handle a possible widespread outbreak. The president said the risk to the American people is, quote, very low. He also announced that Vice President Mike Pence would be leading the government's fight against the virus.
Mike will be working with the professionals, doctors, and everybody else that's working. The team is brilliant. I spent a lot of time with the team over the last couple of weeks, but they're totally brilliant, and we're doing really well, and Mike is going to be in charge, and Mike will report back to me.
The president's decision to put Vice President Pence in charge of overseeing the response is already facing some criticism. That's because of how Pence responded to an HIV outbreak in southern Indiana when he was governor.
The CDC called the 2015 outbreak down in Scott County one of the worst ever. Then Governor Pence eventually declared a public health emergency, and he approved additional resources for this issue. A study by Yale researchers show that many cases could have been avoided if action was taken sooner. In 2016, the director of public policy at the Foundation for AIDS Research and Advocacy and Research Group called the outbreak entirely preventable, but he also said, quote, "We must still give Governor Pence credit for doing the right thing in the end," end quote.
Meanwhile, overnight, there's news that the U.S. may have its first community spread COVID-19 case.
The CDC confirming a newly diagnosed patient in California last night. This case is significant because the person has not recently traveled to a country that's seen the outbreak of this virus. Health officials also say that the person has not had any contact with an infected patient. All of the other 60 cases in the U.S. involve people who have traveled abroad, maybe had close contact with someone who's traveled. Cities and states across the country are taking their own precautions. Officials out in Los Angeles say public areas at LAX are being disinfected every hour. New York City has at least 1,200 hospital beds ready in case of an outbreak.
As for Indiana, the State Department of Health will hold a news conference today to talk about their efforts to protect you. Right now, there are no confirmed cases of the virus in Indiana. Still, health officials say they are already taking certain precautions, like convening a statewide advisory committee of health partners, monitoring travelers in coordination with local health departments, and establishing a 24/7 call center for providers with concerns about potential exposure.
At 5:35, it started just as a flutter in her chest, maybe just for a few seconds. But when the symptoms started lasting longer and longer, Jennifer Pace knew something just wasn't right. And today, thanks to her own persistence, she's living a healthier, happier life.
All month long, we've been sharing stories of survival as part of the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women campaign to bring awareness to heart disease in women. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning with Jennifer's story. Hey, Alyssa.
Good morning, you guys. So Jennifer Pace has been experiencing this flutter-like symptom in her chest since she was just a kid. But those symptoms have gotten worse and worse as she's gotten older. Sometimes these heart-racing episodes lasting for hours. So after multiple hospital visits and several doctors, she learned she has a life-threatening heart condition.
Jennifer Pace's home is kind of like a scrapbook.
My grandmother made the little purple doll.
Mementos from friends and family.
Mom's dish set.
Special keepsakes and photographs, like this one of her and her husband.
When we were 17, we were senior prom dates, and then went our separate ways for about 17 years.
10 years ago, the two reunited and were married.
So there we are when we got married.
Their family's journey displayed in statues on their windowsill.
It depicts our life, and every stage of life we get another one.
Reminders of where they've been and what they've overcome.
And then there's my heart for being a survivor.
Pace was diagnosed with atrial fibrillation, or AFib, in 2012. Her grandfather also had the irregular heart condition, which can lead to blood clots, stroke, or even heart failure. Her symptoms started when she was very young.
Like the flapping of a wing, you know, like your heart flopping around in your chest.
As she got older, the episodes lasted longer, leaving her exhausted, unable to keep up with her kids, and eventually landing her in the ER.
My heart was 210 beats a minute.
A normal heartbeat is between 60 and 100. Pace underwent an AFib ablation, a procedure used to slow down the symptoms. The 44-year-old now rarely has episodes, the whole family supporting her health, adapting to more activity and a healthier lifestyle. While their home is already filled with memories, Pace knows that with her newfound knowledge of her diagnosis and a family focus on health, they'll be adding many more stages of life to their windowsill.
We're hoping to get to this stage in the future. And he bought me
And Pace tells me it took a while for her to get this diagnosis. She actually had to fire a few cardiologists along the way, but she's glad that she persisted and continued to try to find answers because she has relief from these symptoms that she's experienced throughout her life. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. Covering the State House this morning, fines for stores caught selling smoking or vaping products to anyone younger than 21 could be doubled. Yesterday, state Senate and House negotiators agreed on a bill that would increase the maximum fine against a retailer for a first violation from $200 to $400. Supporters say this will help reduce Indiana's high smoking rates by making it harder for young people to get tobacco products. But some say the proposal doesn't go far enough because it doesn't include additional taxes on cigarettes or regulations on vaping liquids.
Here at 5:38, we're getting a look at more feathery victims who were impacted by the fuel spill caused by last week's tanker explosion and crash. Indianapolis Animal Care Services posted several pictures on Facebook of ducks covered in fuel. They were found in a creek near the I-465 ramp to I-70. That's where that tanker crashed, spilling 7,000 gallons of jet fuel. IACS says that it's been able to find wildlife rehabbers to care for these ducks. Sadly, at least one duck impacted by the spill has died. The Avian and Exotic Animal Clinic of Indianapolis says it rescued a group of ducks covered in fuel near the site of that crash. The clinic says one did not make it, but the others are being rehabilitated.
Kings Island is looking to hire Hoosiers. The theme park is making it easier for Indiana residents to work there with the opening of its new housing facility. The One Team Village complex provides an affordable housing option for employees who live more than 25 miles from the park. The cost is just $65 a week. Residents have access to several amenities, including a rec center, convenience store, a community kitchen space, and free Wi-Fi. You must be 18 or older to live there, and rooms are available on a first-come, first-served basis. We've got more info on the RTV6 app.
Well, big game in West Lafayette tonight. The Boilermakers taking on the Indiana Hoosiers. Last time the two teams met down in Bloomington, Purdue came away with a major win. But the win didn't spell magic for the Boilermakers. The team has been on a 4-game losing streak. IU, on the other hand, playing much better since the blowout loss.
When you watch that last Indiana-Purdue game, well, everybody would have picked Purdue. You know, just look how they play, look how they execute, look how they did things. But that woke Indiana up. And Indiana's played way better than us since then.
I think our guys have a good mindset right now. I think they understand that, you know, we're not asking a lot of them other than, like I said at the beginning, you know, great attitude, great work ethic, and, you know, tremendous effort level when we're asking them to give it.
Tip-off for tonight's game at Mackey Arena is set for 7 o'clock. Here this morning at 5:40, want to toss things over to Todd for a check of our bus stop forecast. Todd, what do the kids need to know?
Yeah, some of the kids on 2-hour delay in northern locations, so keep that in mind. As you head out to the bus stop, make sure you check the bottom of our screen or the RTV6 app for some of those schools that are on delays. No schools on delay down to the south where we didn't have hardly any snow yesterday. 24 right now is the temperature on average across the area. There's a few flurries as the kids head off to school this morning, but those flurries not going to cause any issues. Mostly cloudy. It's the kids come home in a temperature that'll be right around 32 degrees. So here are these flurries that are streaming through the area this morning. Again, they will not cause any issues. What will be an issue, though, throughout the day today is the wind. It's not too bad right now, but the wind gust this afternoon will be anywhere from about 20 to 25 miles per hour. That's going to make that temperature of 32 degrees this afternoon feel more like the mid-20s. So make sure you bundle up and watch those first few steps as you walk out the doors. There could be a few slick spots on your sidewalk with the icy conditions with the temperatures falling below freezing. The time now, 5:41. We're back in just a few minutes. Stay with Good Morning Indiana.
Easy with
Welcome back. The trial is underway for 2 American teens accused of murdering an Italian police officer last summer.
Investigators say it all stemmed from a drug deal gone wrong. 19-year-old Finnegan Elder and 18-year-old Gabriel Natal Horth were arrested in July. Police say the two stole a backpack and were seen on surveillance running away before demanding cash and cocaine for the bag's return. Officer Rega and his partner stopped the two, eventually getting into a confrontation. Prosecutors say Elder admitted to stabbing Officer Rega 11 times, but he says it was self-defense. Both teens are charged with extortion as well. If convicted, they could face life in prison. In the UK, Prince Harry has started to wrap up his official royal duties. Harry and Meghan won't officially step down as senior royals until the end of next month, but the Duke of Sussex apparently wants to transition away from the formality sooner. While speaking in Scotland at an event for his sustainable tourism initiative, Travelist, the event's host said Prince Harry asked to simply be called Harry, dropping the Prince title. He and Markle are expected to attend several events throughout England over the next few months.
The Supreme Court has dismissed the case of Lee Boyd Malvo. He's one of two men convicted in the sniper shooting spree that terrorized Maryland, Virginia, and D.C. That was all back in 2002. The move comes after Malvo's lawyers and the state of Virginia agreed to dismiss his case. That's because Virginia's governor signed a law Monday making juvenile offenders with life sentences eligible for parole after serving 20 years. Malvo was 17 when he convicted. This, while the new law ends Malvo's Supreme Court case, it's unlikely that he'll be released from prison anytime soon. He's also received 6 life sentences without the possibility of parole for the killings in Maryland. The other man convicted in the case, John Allen Muhammad, was executed in 2009.
Also in Washington, the House of Representatives has passed a piece of historic legislation making lynching a federal crime. H.R. 35 passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. Only 4 lawmakers voting against it. The bill, called the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, is named after the 14-year-old whose brutal murder in Mississippi became a civil rights rallying cry in the 1950s. A similar bill has already been passed in the Senate, but since the bills have some discrepancies, the House version will be sent to the Senate, and senators are expected to vote on it in this week. If passed, the White House says President Trump will sign it into law.
At 5:47, the nation's first supervised injection site is set to open in Philadelphia next week. The site, called Safe House, will be a place where people can go to use illegal drugs under medical supervision. Advocates say it will help to save lives and combat overdose deaths. People who visit will also be counseled about treatment and other health services. The site will be open 5 days a week for 4 hours a day. While residents in the area say help is needed, there are still some objections. Opponents argue that injections sites like this violate federal drug law and can do more harm than good in the fight against the opioid crisis.
Buffalo, New York is known for snowy winters, which means it might be easy to film wintry movie scenes there, but it turns out that is not always the case. The city needed a little bit of Hollywood magic to create snow scenes for the upcoming Guillermo del Toro film Nightmare Alley. Crews were seen spreading a white tarp on the grass and covering it with snow brought in from another location because there wasn't enough of the white stuff on hand. Del Toro said he was shocked about the lack of snow. And I think a lot of people here are shocked about the amount of snow that we got yesterday, Todd. It just seemed to be dumping and dumping on us nonstop throughout yesterday.
You know, it just kept snowing, but we told you this time of year, I told you that this time of year, if the snow is light and the temperatures are hovering around freezing during the daytime hours, it's very difficult for it to get to accumulate on the roadways, and that's exactly what happened. It was a winter wonderland on the trees, on the grass, but the roads were in pretty much good shape, and part of that goes to credit to all the crews that were out there salting across central Indiana. There's still a few flurries moving through as well this morning. It looks worse on radar than it actually is, but as you make your way through the Frankfort area, Lebanon, Noblesville, off towards the east and Portland, there's a few flurries in and around downtown as well, and then a little heavier snow shower over towards Rushville. What you see on radar here is not going to cause any issues on the roadways. That is the good news going forward, at least throughout the day today. 25 degrees right now. The wind not bad this morning. It's calmed down from when that front went through yesterday. And we had those gusty winds in the afternoon. 26 in Greencastle, 27 in Bloomington, 24 is the current temperature in Greenfield. Throughout the day today, the wind will pick back up again, unfortunately, and it'll get up at about 20 miles per hour. That's going to make these temperatures feel a little bit colder than what you see here, but the actual temperatures will eventually climb up into the mid-30s for your afternoon highs. We'll toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies today with that occasional flurry as well. Tonight, the skies start to clear, the winds calm, temperatures will fall back down into the teens and 20s. Why the big temperature difference? Well, to the south, virtually no snow on the ground. 24 the overnight low in Bloomington, some snow in Indy, officially 1.2 inches at the airport yesterday. 20 degrees. But where the thicker snowpack is to the north, where you had 3-4 inches of snow, that's where you'll find temperatures in the teens tomorrow morning. Then a high of only 33 tomorrow afternoon with partly cloudy skies and a few snow showers moving through. The snow showers tomorrow will be a little more vigorous, but they're very, very spotty. So some of you will get into the snow showers during the afternoon hour. The main impact would be reduced visibility on the roadways. So as you cross the miles off here across central Indiana tomorrow evening for your commute, just know visibilities could get reduced and there could be some minor accumulation. We're talking nothing more than a quick coating with those isolated snow showers tomorrow afternoon. But once that's through the weekend, not bad. 39 and sunshine on Saturday, much warmer on Sunday, up to 57 with more in the way of clouds than rain showers Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday morning.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here's a look at your drive times on the southeast side. Traveling westbound on I-74, a 5-minute commute from the Acton Road area to I-465, no delays. So let's take a look right now to our north, US 31 here north of 131st Street. Traffic is moving along both northbound and southbound. Again, areas farther north of here, we have several school delays. Those are all listed on the RTV6 mobile app and scrolling at the bottom of your screen. No issues in Hamilton County, though, at this hour for your commute.
FedEx has hired its first African-American female CEO. The woman in the position started with the company at just 19 years old. Ramona Hood is the former VP of Operations, Strategy, and Planning at the Greene, Ohio facility. She's worked for the company for more than 28 years, starting as a receptionist in 1991. Hood climbed up the ladder, eventually obtaining an officer position at FedEx Supply Chain in 2016. She then returned to FedEx Custom Critical for an executive position and was named President and CEO in January.
It's 5:52. Your next pair of sneakers might have the grip of a rain tire. Skechers is teaming up with Goodyear to launch a new shoe design. The Goodyear Performance outsoles are already available in an assortment of walking and running shoes. Skechers says the rubber being used has a special polymer that includes soybean oil. The shoe company says it will provide better stability for runners and excellent grip on slippery surfaces. Skechers and Goodyear are also working together on trail and work shoes. Those will come out later this year.
A basketball game ending that you have to see to believe. We'll show you how one Indiana university survived and advanced in their conference tournament. We'll be right back.
Jeep Brown.
The only name you need to know.
Last night, one university in our state was involved in one of the craziest basketball finishes you will ever see. Taylor University was taking on Grace University in the quarterfinals of the Crossroads League tournament. The Taylor Trojans had a 3-point lead with just seconds left when things got pretty crazy. Take a look.
It's it. They're not able to foul. Warner's going to fire up a three, and he had it. Got it. We're in overtime. 1.6 seconds remaining. Dagan Kolb's going to fire up a full quarter, and it's good.
He hit it. Was it after the buzzer? Was it?
Well, the shot counted. That wild three-quarter shot was shot by Mason. Dagan Kolb gave the Trojans that 88-85 victory. Taylor now heads to the semifinals in a matchup with Bethel on Saturday. What are the odds of that? Just lobbing it up there, and they counted. That's pretty crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
Just never know.
That is crazy.
All right. Sorry, no slam dunks in the weather department today, Todd.
No, but we may have a 3-point shot in our back pocket for the weekend, and that's temperatures that eventually be a little bit warmer. But it's cold this morning. We're in the 20s right now. You see some flurries on Storm Team 6 radar. It looks worse than it is. The flurries that you see on your morning commute will not be enough to cause any issues on the roadways, but there could be a few slick spots. Eventually, highs today only in the 30-degree range in Peru, about 33 in Indy, a little warmer to the south. So make sure you bundle up here throughout the day. The wind will actually make these temperatures you see here feel even a little bit colder. I'll talk about that warm up I mentioned for the weekend coming up in the next half hour of Good Morning Indiana. Stay with us. We'll be right back.